Hey everyone, welcome to Between the Lines with Chris Curran. I'm here with CJ Lauriello, a high school and collegiate Division I athlete, Miami-Dade College alum, Bethune-Cookman alum, owner of CJ Turn to Fitness, father of two. How's it going, man?
All is great, brother. All is great. How you doing?
Dude, I can't complain, man. Things are good. Things are good. Coco's asleep. I'll take that.
I wish my kids were.
I know that's coming up. That's coming up close for you, huh?
I got two of them, so they're tag teaming right now. They're trying to stall as much as they can from mom.
Do they feed off each other?
Big time.
See, we
Big
have
time.
one.
It's
We
funny.
have one, so we don't see it. But I can imagine two. If one's a little tired, the other one's like,
Yeah.
not yet.
Well, Julian's pretty good. When he wants to go to bed, he's pretty much taps out. Sky's the one that she gives us a run for our money.
Yeah, she's tough in a good way.
Definitely.
She is
In a
tough
good
in a
way.
good way, man. So, I mean, obviously, we were roommates in college, and it's crazy to think because not only are you my best friend, but I've been calling you big brother for like the last 20 years. So
For
that's
real, bro.
that's one of the beauties of this, how it all goes full circle and everything like that. For the people that don't know, can you tell us just a little bit about your baseball story? Like, what's the journey been for you?
Man, baseball. Let's see. Grew up down in Miami, from Miami, Florida. I played high school ball down there, went to Coral Reef Senior High School in Miami South Ridge. When I graduated from South Ridge, I actually went to Frank Phillips my freshman year. Then I transferred to Miami-Dade. Remember, that's when you came in.
Yeah, yeah,
So
man.
yeah, I transferred to Dade and I graduated from Miami-Dade. We both all conference together, right? All state. We did our thing. I think we both hit in the 400s.
Oh yeah,
Some
oh
light.
yeah.
We did our thing out there. We were very exciting. We played at Miami-Dade together, and then after Miami-Dade, I went to Bethune-Cookman. I had a great career over there. I was actually first team all MEAC tournament MVP, when I played and had an unfortunate injury, and that's what put me onto the course of where I'm at today, with training and helping develop ball players.
Dude, that had to have been the only thing that stopped you. Because, like, at Dade, I think I remember something crazy like you hitting 460. It
Yeah,
was
man.
something nuts when you
It was
just
up
think
there.
about it, man.
But what's crazy was I hit 460. I think you were what, like 410, 420.
Yeah,
There was six of us. It was me, you, Nini, Adrian
yeah,
Morales, Carmelo,
yeah.
and then we had Madrazo too. He was up
Yeah.
there banging.
Dude, yeah, we were pretty stacked, man.
Yeah, we were,
We
man.
were
We weren't the
stacked.
biggest, but we were definitely up there.
I know, man. No, it's unbelievable. And so you transferred to Dade. So
Yeah, so what
what was
happened
that for
was,
you?
so going into college, I actually played with Frankie Damas, which was our assistant coach. I played for his travel team. So I was expected to go to Dade, right out of high school.
Okay.
And one of my cousins, I mean, obviously family, he had an opportunity to go to school with Frank Phillips, and I took that journey with him together. I didn't want to leave him out there by himself. I was kind of part of the deal
Oh
breaker,
yeah.
to get my cousin out there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go play. But after one year, it was like it wasn't where I wanted to be. Dade was more my style. The coaches that could relate to him a lot. And after one conversation with Frankie and Coach Hirsch, which have known me since I was a kid, it was a no-brainer to go back
Yeah.
home and play for home. So, Dade is, playing for Dade, it's, always been a powerhouse, a no name in the state of Florida, in the JUCO world. So me going there and doing what I was capable of doing, I knew it was going to set me up great for the future.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I didn't really know much about Miami-Dade when I went there.
Yeah, it's
Originally I was going to go to Barry University
right.
and I was shy of like GPA. So they ended up setting me up there and it was like a month before I had to report and I just didn't have a school. I knew so my high school goal, I had a couple things on my bucket list. It was like play college baseball in Miami, get drafted, and get a letter from the Red Sox, essentially. And those were kind of my goals. But yeah, going to Miami. So Coach Pavo, who is from Fall River,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
What's crazy? He actually offered me too.
Yeah, dude, I love that guy. I love him.
Nah,
He's a
he was honestly, he was a good coach. If it wasn't for Dade, I think I would have ended up over at Barry too. So I think our paths would have crossed at some point.
yeah, yeah. I loved him, man. He was hard nosed, and I talked to a lot of the players, and they're like, "Yeah, man, he's tough." And I'm like, No, tough is good, but he's Massachusetts, so I was used to that of him just
Yeah.
yelling at you to yell at you. you know? So I was like, I'm
Nah,
fine with that.
he was a great coach, great program. I mean,
Yeah.
Barry was definitely up there back when we were playing.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a great school. But when you transferred to Bethune, how was like that college transition? Because were you on
Oh
campus?
man, yeah. No. Actually, it was a little different. They had us in apartments, but I did get to experience more of the college life, I would say. Because Miami-Dade
Yeah,
was more, we balled a lot, but it was a lot of nightlife. It wasn't really a college town,
yeah,
frat life, sorority life wasn't, a thing for us. It was really baseball and nightlife,
yeah. That
that
was
was
it.
pretty much it. So I got to actually experience, the whole college scenario when I was there for 2 years, and it was honestly amazing. Had a
Yeah,
great time over there.
I always wondered about like that college life because Miami-Dade, man. Like you're at the
Yeah,
weight
it was like,
room early.
Miami-Dade was just baseball. There
It
we
really
actually
was.
had, went to football games, homecomings. It was just a different atmosphere, different environment, things we weren't used to. Obviously, the whole fraternity life was a big, game changer.
Yeah,
It was something that, it was something I didn't know about or things that we weren't accustomed to, when we were in Miami. It was either you're an athlete or you're just a regular student.
yeah.
And then going to Bethune, people have different organizations, different sororities, fraternities, like I've been saying, and just the mix of lifestyles and going to school and being an athlete, it was nice.
Yeah, and that's like an institute. That's not just a
Yeah.
stop by college. Like when you hear Bethune-Cookman, you're like, nah, that's a
You know, we
foundational type of school.
we have reunions, alumni. It's actually pretty deep. Something we try to do at Dade, but it's a little
Yeah,
different at that school.
yeah, yeah. No,
I would
it's
say they got stronger ties. Baseball we got some strong ties at Dade. We come back. Had to pay homage to our home, but when you go
yeah,
to homecoming there, it was just you get the history.
yeah, yeah. And I know you end up transferring too, but in a 4-year college, it definitely seems more of like the long run where Dade was people were in, people were out.
You know
You
what? I
know,
like my situation. I like my two and done. I got to see a lot, experience a
yeah,
lot. I went to Texas, obviously Miami, and then to go to Daytona and Central Florida. It was nice, really good
yeah.
experience.
That's and with the injuries too, because I know my freshman year you were balling out and you got injured.
Yeah, I
Oh,
took.
that was such a big hit, man, because we were rolling into that season like, dude, we got this, and then you got hurt. It felt like a
Well,
week or two before the
actually,
season.
you know what? It's honestly, I'm kind of happy it did happen. It gave me time to get stronger, just work on my game. From all aspects. Um, growing up in Miami, I played ball nonstop since the age of probably 6 years old.
Yeah,
It was consistent. So taking that time to recover, really, get my body under me, and that actually gave me 2 years with you. I did, because I had a red shirt that one year, so I was just there, just getting better.
yeah,
When I had my opportunity, when I came back, obviously I had the season I had, so I felt like it was, more in my favor,
yeah.
having that injury.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you put up the numbers; it showed. You know what I mean? You weren't sitting on the couch. So we could
Yeah,
definitely say that. That's something I
nah,
tell
but
Brian. I tell Brian that, my brother, obviously, I always say, I'm like, dude, CJ was probably like the best overall player because you could hit too. You know what I mean? You were
it's
hitting
just
and running
it was different. I kind of feel like if I played in these times, with the versatility of athletes and everything, probably had a little longer run. But back when we played, it was like we had to like lock down a position, and just try to be the best at that. So I would say my strongest point was just swinging the bat. Wherever I had to
yeah.
be on that field, play left field, play center field, second, third,
Well,
short, wherever I had to be.
yeah. No, it's and after your injury later on, how was like that transition out of baseball? Because did you go immediately into training other athletes? Because that's such a big part of what you do now.
Well, I did get into coaching, but not to the extent I'm doing now. It's more one of those things like part time, like just make a quick buck, go
Yeah,
out there,
yeah,
help some.
exactly.
It's so easy to do in Miami. And now obviously having the career and background that I had, finding quick opportunities was something that was in front of me that I could maximize on. But No, I actually did what? I think we got into this one together. We were selling life insurance for a little bit, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Dude, seriously.
We were
Ser
really trying to figure it out, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. We always find a way to get in business or do something together, and we're
You know,
here now.
but yeah, then I got an opportunity to, start personal training, and then, obviously it was something I fell in love with, something I knew I could grow and had a passion behind as well, just like baseball, and finding the satisfaction in helping others, with something nice, good feeling, and brought
Yeah.
me brought me where I'm at today. I was able to make a nice career out of it.
So you started out coaching. How did that lead? I know I don't want to skip too many levels, but like, how did that lead into the athletes that you train today? Because it seems like, you coach
Well,
10 and 11-year-olds or 15-year-olds, and now you're just like,
well,
it's
the thing
crazy.
was, it was like, it was one of those things like what would I do to my younger self to make me better? Like I would start the mobility, the strength conditioning. So when I started training athletes, I started realizing a lot of kids didn't have a strong foundation. That was number one. So it's like if I want to get something across and they physically can't do it, I'm just gonna be pretty much beating a dead horse or contributing more to bad habits.
Yeah.
So that was something, I started noticing when I was working with athletes and kids, and I would start training them, developing them, from a mobility and core strengthening standpoint, where just little things like that were leading to more exit velo, more
Yeah.
balance, more power, things like that were becoming more, I want to say involuntary to the kids. The more they were doing these routines, you just saw better habits, when they were on the field, whether it was running, fielding, hitting. And it was something I just kept building on, and developed. I mean, I want to say probably been in New York 15 years. A lot of guys weren't doing this. Now there's a lot more of me out here, but I was one of the first few to make that change in the city, and obviously I was getting great results out of my guys, and my guys have done some great things where it's a baseball, football, basketball, and now I got guys and pros in pretty much all sports.
Dude, that's unbelievable, man. I remember just on like a smaller scale because we used to have an AAU travel baseball program, and you just see some of the progressions from some of the kids that they're probably not going to play on their high school team or their college team. It was kind of like a step up from town where we were kind of harping it and taking it serious and working these kids hard more than they were in town ball, but it was more about some of the life lessons that we would hopefully pass on to them. So for you, is there like a core foundation that you stand for, whether you're seeing a kid that's, this kid's probably not going to really play baseball long term, or this kid has a chance?
Uh, I mean, whether they want to play long term or not, I mean, I feel like they need to have the work ethic. They need to do the right things and be very consistent in doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
regardless if they want to play ball or be a doctor, those are traits they need to pretty much live and die by, to make it happen,
Yeah, yeah. No, those are some of the biggest traits too, man. Just because you never know. You never know what's going to happen in this game. You can be unbelievable and get hurt. You might not play at the age of 13. Who really knows what's going to happen? So it
Right.
really is about those core values and things that
So
you
my
stand on.
my thing is pretty much just do the right things. If you do the right things, it's going to lead you to better habits. Obviously, you're going to develop better habits. You're going to perform better. You're going to work better. Everything's just going to be in line for you to, knock those doors down when those opportunities happen.
Yeah. So I mean, so you've seen so many range of players from ages to talent levels. I mean, do you ever see, as you know, my son Cole is on the spectrum. Now, do you see that throughout your walks of life, whether it's players directly training them,
Absolutely,
siblings?
absolutely. I think that's one of the coolest things about this journey. I have kids that come through that are obviously on the spectrum as well. I have, my boy Max is one of my favorites. I post him up a lot. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Max. He pretty much runs the gym. But when I first started working with Max, I mean, again, he wasn't as developed as he is like you see now, as
Hmm.
far as speaking to the kids, holding conversations, but again, holding those core values, just staying consistent with the routine, constantly talking, working and giving them an environment where they could thrive. A lot of great things have happened where you can see it, you see them rocking
Yeah.
out just like the regular kids, and just watching them build that connection and vibe. I mean, it's a really beautiful thing, and it's cool to see that it doesn't always have to be, baseball. You could use these core values we've been talking about with other kids and, watch them progress and maximize their lives and be the best them that, be the best themselves as they want to be.
Yeah, no, it's crazy when you think about it too, just because of what you can provide and that level of confidence in people who may have difficulty dealing with others socially. The fact
Yeah.
that I've always considered you as someone who can almost get along with anybody. So like that level of
But
comfort that someone
it,
can
wa- it,
have
wa- it,
with
wa-
you.
it wasn't always like that, and it's like, I mean, stuff like that, I feel like it's contagious. So if you're constantly showing kids how it's done, and they're seeing, these traits and habits and
Yeah.
you're living by them, it becomes easier for them too.
Yeah, and it's setting such a good example that if CJ's doing it, then everyone begins doing it, and it just becomes the culture and becomes the norm, and that's such a big thing too, man. Because as a father, you just never know how. Like I can protect Cole, Kayla can protect Cole, but you never know who's going to be out there that hasn't run into someone on the spectrum or just only
But
sees it as different.
that's a beautiful thing about it. You can really create a dope village, for your
Yeah,
kid.
yeah,
And I feel like it's just another outlet for them to, be the best versions of themselves.
yeah. No, it's 100% true.
It's pretty cool that, I mean, if you asked me 15 years ago, would I be doing that or would I be capable of providing that? My honest answer would be say, no.
Yeah.
If you tell anybody, but it's 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 wild, once you make that connection and you see like there's an avenue where, there could be some light, you
Yeah.
just like a sport, you hit that hole and you hit it hard.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the kids, once you find an avenue that they connect and grow, just keep building on it.
And it's funny because you're watching your athletes for you, you're watching your children grow up. And what I've said to my brother Brian was at the time so for you, it's like you've never been the father of a 5-year-old, of a 6-year-old. So you continuously grow every year. And it's tough because you got to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
I mean, listen, I deal with kids from all ages, so I get a little bit, but when they're your own, it's a little different.
you'll have an entire gym of people that listen to you and you get home and they're like, I ain't listening to
What?
daddy.
For real. Exactly how it goes.
No, dude, it is so true. So, and I know that you bring the kids to the gym with
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, I do.
dude. How is that? Sky probably runs the gym.
Man, it's
I
great.
could
I
see her
mean,
doing that.
I want them to, grow up in that kind of environment. We live in a pretty much a techie, time right now where everything's on iPad or,
Hmm.
television. And, I'm sure you see it with your son. The minute you turn that on, it's like, boom, they get
Yeah,
zombied out. So
yeah,
I feel like the more activities they could do, the more hands-on they could do is obviously going to help with their development. So that's, part of the, our daily routine with them, try to keep them outside, keep them active. I actually have my daughter in a full school right now, and it's probably one of the greatest things is, living, it's just true happiness out of a kid. You
dude,
see
that
those
is
moments
awesome.
and it's like so rewarding.
Yeah, like yeah, that's amazing that that's available and that's out there nowadays because you're so used to just the normal school structure of sitting in straight lines and walking in the hallway in straight lines.
You know what? I feel like we didn't grow up like that. We were always
Yeah,
outside. We had PE every day. It's like now these kids have PE once a week or once a month, or they don't have it at all.
yeah.
Everything's it's just different times.
No, it's just a good heads up to be able to provide that and do your research because it's easy to be overwhelmed by that work-life balance and just throw the kids into schools and kind of go through the motion. But to be that proactive parent, it does take the extra work, and
Right.
a lot of parents won't do it because it is a little more difficult to do the programs and
I'm blessed to have my own business and I work on my own time and hours, and so that also frees up time to do stuff like that as well. So I'm fortunate to be able to provide that for her. Working at 9 to 5, that's tough. I understand. A
yeah,
lot of people would love to spend that time and, raise their kids, but, life is life, and people got to do those things.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm thankful I could provide that for my kids.
And how is that work-life balance with you can kind of control your hours, but as the business owner, father of two,
Oh, trust me,
You have a
I'm
family. You have a family at home,
you know,
you know?
it's more, communication than anything. Obviously, we have our busy seasons and times where, we gotta, bite down and go get it, but you still gotta make that time for your kids and balance out, so it's more scheduling and communication when it comes to that.
Yeah. No, that's it. It's so true. It's so true.
And then obviously, the seasons and summer times it's a little slower, so you get more time with the kids, you travel, create those memories, and then,
Yep.
winter, it's a couple months, but that gives you time to create these great opportunities when, the seasons are a little slower, you got that overtime,
Yeah, it's good to
working
start
out things
lining
out
some things up. You know what I mean?
for real.
That is definitely helpful. You start planning ahead and you're like, all right, we can do this then. And that kind of luxury that some other people don't have is also some of the luxuries that you have to give up seasonally, to keep the business going and thriving and offering everything you can. That's the trade-off sometimes. And for you, like, what do you have in the works? Because you always have 100
So
things going on, I feel.
man, well, no, I'm actually currently renovating a new spot. I just closed down my other facility. I'm opening up an 8,000 square foot, you know, training facility out here in New
Yeah.
York that's going to facilitate baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey, lacrosse, full recovery room, classroom, can do the whole academy.
Wow.
So just trying to take
Damn.
it up a level, take it up another level out here, just keep building on what I've been, building the last decade, create something that's going to be a staple out here in New York City. That's my next, my next mission, and it's on the way right now.
Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome. It's been fun watching. I mean, obviously it's like friends and family, but it's definitely something to watch you go through those changes and continuously grow throughout the years. It's like,
It's
damn, good for you, man.
people see the growth, the progression. It's just like anything, we got to go back to those core values. There's going to be tough days, there's going to be trying times, but you got to wake up, get back on the horse, and keep going. That's pretty much my motive, and I try to live like that. I help me be a successful ball player, and it's helped me be a successful business owner and trainer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and where can people find you too?
So I'm actually in Queens, New York. My gym was in Long Island City, but now I'm at Maspeth, which is about 3 minutes. But I'm in Queens. I'm not far from Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan. I'm pretty center, so I have kids from all over the city, Long Island, Staten Island, Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of
Wow.
those things that, I've been able to provide a great service for kids in a great environment, and I've been lucky to get kids to come to all throughout.
And you're getting ready to go on a trip soon, right? Because Juju's birthday's coming
Yeah,
up, huh?
yeah, my son's birthday's Friday, he's turning big two, big two. So we're gonna go down to Florida, spend time with the fam, just enjoy those, enjoy the time off and create some memories.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, dude, I want to thank you for being on the show, man. It's always fun
Yeah,
talking to you. These are some of the conversations we'll have anyways, but it's better to record them now. You know what I mean? It's
nah, for real.
it's just more memories we can add into the memory bank.
Nah,
You
for real.
know?
No, anything you need, brother, I'm here for you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man.